Do you guys remember that creepy video? I'm gonna hit the light here. Little sunshine, little sun. Hey guys, Nika. I remember listening to that creepy whistling in a video. We don't know who it is. But it doesn't matter because we're here to talk about real things that matter and that we can do something about. And this topic has been very politicized because it has been for several reasons. And I'm not going to go down that route, but we need to address this because corruption is real. And when you don't address corruption, guess what happens? Do you think it just goes away? No, it gets worse. If you just pretend everything is okay, that it's normal, it continues to take place and it can get worse. Guys, talking about corruption within law enforcement is not something I look forward to doing. I'm not doing it just to talk bad about law enforcement. It's not the point. For me, this is a very difficult topic because veteran, military family, over 50% of my family has military background. Police officer, sheriffs, FBI, DEA, marshals. Okay, that's a huge chunk of family members. In fact, I've yet to meet somebody who has that many family members within law enforcement. So no, I'm not here to paint everybody as evil, corrupt LE. I'm here to speak about the truth. Because this case is very shady. And I've had some conversations within the comments and some personal conversations with some of you guys. And I know that some of you guys have LE family members as well. So I understand why you get sensitive when I talk about this topic. But at the end of the day, I'm aware, yes, life is not perfect. Yes, law enforcement isn't perfect either. But we still need to address them because they're here to serve the community. We hold criminals accountable. If it's your average Joe walking down the street committing a crime, we always make sure to plaster his or her name all over the news and the crime they committed or they intended to commit. So why aren't we doing the same for these officers? And what was very eye-opening to me was that a lot of people don't realize that there's actually an officer within Moscow LE that is being investigated. Did you know that? Maybe it's old news for you, but a lot of people don't know this, and it's available online. I can post the legal documents, and I have my laptop open here. This is what it says. The state has become aware of the potential Brady material related to one of the officers involved in the above referenced case. The material in the form of a confidential internal affairs investigation is hereby submitted in camera to the court. Who is being investigated? That is my question. I want to know. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to the IDAHO4 case at all. It could be something else. But it could be related to the case. And for me, it's important I talk about the bad apples within law enforcement because those few bad apples ruin it for the rest of us. Because those few bad apples, make people like me, like my family members, grandparents, uncles, they make us all look bad because they immediately say, oh, ooh, you guys wear a badge or you wore a uniform once. It means you're power hungry. No. But that's the reflection that the community gets. And if we actually want to have safe communities and just better connection, more trust within the communities to LE, we need to fix this gap of holding people accountable. We need to hold these few bad apples that are painting the rest of us as bad officers, bad agents, as bad people. We are not all that way. So, to fix those issues, we need to bring them to light. Again, Moscow LE does not have a good record. They have a horrible record, actually. And I'm going to pull up some more information here. It's shocking because I live in Chicago, a city known for corrupt LE, corrupt politicians. It's bad. But Moscow is teeny tiny compared to Chicago. And there have been so many cases of corrupt LE within Moscow that it needs to be addressed. Because at the end of the day, when we look at one department, Moscow LE, and they have such a bad track record, it could very well play a role in how Brian's case turns out. So, handy dandy notes. I'm only going to give you a few examples because otherwise we could be here a while, okay? If you want to do your own research, you can. But maybe I'll do that on like a long weekend. There's something going on in Idaho. I don't know if it is the location. Again, when you pull up DEA documents, we see that a lot of the chemicals used to produce fentanyl are shipped from China, sometimes to Colorado. Colorado is pretty close to Idaho. So is it possible that that may have an effect on why there is so much corruption within the Idaho PDs? Maybe. But here I have an article. Retired Moscow police officer faces charges of concealing evidence. Concealing evidence in Moscow? No way. Wow. What do you know? It's happened. This is an older article. Do you know what the police sergeant was charged with? It was a misdemeanor. Wow. That's it? Really, Moscow? PD, really? Must be nice. That's cool. So you can conceal evidence and just give someone a misdemeanor in Moscow PD, apparently, per that article. That's an easy way out, right? I'm pulling up another case here. This one, you can pull up yourself. It's a website that shows you the score of any police department in the country. Let's look up Moscow. Policescorecard.org. What do you think? Do you think there'll be like an A-? Let's see. 57%. Moscow PD, what are you doing with your life? 57%? That is a very low score. That's an F for failure. Because apparently, per this report card, your department is trash. Does that mean all officers in Moscow LE are bad? No. But overall, yes. Because at the end of the day, they get judged as a whole. Communities look at LE as a whole. Should that happen? No. Does it happen? Yes. So maybe Moscow, work on getting that letter up, at least a C. Come on now. That is failing horribly. And let's see, what other articles do we have here? So many. Okay, this one is in Caldwell, Idaho. I just wanted to talk about this one because it's pretty recent. Okay, this is from March 25th, 2022. Caldwell, Idaho, I believe is like 4 or 5 hours from Moscow. Okay. He traded sex for me not to go to jail, and then he took the drugs, one woman said. Yikes. Oh my God. That's bad. You are a bad cop. Actually, that's not bad. That's bottom of the barrel, in my opinion. You're literally committing multiple crimes in that sentence alone. That was on ktvb.com. Again, if you guys want me to link them, I will. And so you have sexual misconduct, drug crime, misconduct. All in Idaho. All in Idaho. What is in the water? Or are cops just undertrained? What do we need to do to make you better? What do we need to do? Because obviously something is off. When I pulled up, literally guys, 10 minutes of my day to pull up a dozen articles. That was 10 minutes. Can you imagine if I'd spent an hour? No. It's disgusting. I understand. Yes, life isn't perfect. LE isn't perfect, nothing is perfect. No, but this is disgusting. Because again, if we knew that an average person did this, sexual misconduct along with drugs, like prison, for sure. For sure. But this guy, they didn't even put his name on the article. But if it was you or me, you know, our freaking faces and our names and everything about us would be out there for everyone to see. Why are we not giving his name out? And then I found another article. This one is from February 2019. This one. Similar. Records detail Hargrave's police had several policy violations stemming from sexual misconduct. Again, what is in the freaking water? So this one really stood out to me because it involved a WSU freshman. She was 18 at the time. And she accused the officer, and he said he didn't do anything. He denied. Then they ended up testing the semen on her shirt. And guilty. And he ended up resigning and pleading not guilty. Isn't that crazy now? Why are these policemen hanging around young college girls? In my opinion, this guy looks 50s. She's 18. And just so you guys know, I don't care. Look, if she's legal and you're 85, 105, and she's okay with that, it is what it is to consenting adults. But sexual abuse of 18-year-old girls by an officer, what do you think the community is going to think? I know what I think. I think I wouldn't call 911 if I needed them. Because if this is what's coming out of the PD within my community, I do not trust them. I want nothing to do with them. I'll protect myself, thank you. Because if I call you, I don't know what you're going to do to me. You're going to ask for sex in exchange, apparently, like this student said he did. And then he took the drugs. You're going to ask for some return for you to protect me? That's your job. I'm not going to go through all of these. I feel like I've spent enough time here. But reading about all the cases, and again, there were way more. No way I can cover them all today. It sickens me. Because all of these were in Moscow, minus the Caldwell one. You guys are failing as a police department. I don't know what to think. One of the cases literally said that you were concealing evidence in Moscow. Could you be doing that now? Could you be concealing evidence in this Brian case? We can't rule it out because obviously you've done it before. I read other cases where police officers in Moscow did terrible things, and you know what they did? They just transferred them to another PD while the investigation occurred. Wait, what? So you allowed them to work while the investigation was taking place. That doesn't make sense to me. So if they were accused of SA on a young girl, let's just transfer them a few miles away to another PD. He'll be fine until the investigation is over. What they normally do is that they may transfer them, but they don't allow them to work within the day-to-day activities or house calls. But in some of these cases, these officers were allowed to do that. Is it possible that maybe they were out and about committing other crimes while the investigation took place? Yes, it's very possible. Why don't we do that with average people? Why don't we say, oh, you know what? Let's just free Brian at the moment. He may have done it, but the investigation is still taking place. Let's let him roam the streets. Oh, no. He's a civilian. We can't do that. But if it's an officer, we'll do it for him, right? Investigation returns, officer guilty. Again, this is not an easy topic for me to talk about because I find this behavior sickening overall, but even more disgusting when it's coming from people who are supposed to protect our communities. And yes, we are not perfect. And people have told me, Nika, why are you picking on LE? I'm not picking on LE. Again, I'm trying to point out some hard truths that this stuff does happen and that, in my opinion, they should be held accountable. By the way, are you guys aware of the federal case going on in Idaho, Moscow, Idaho? The corrupt case of the violations of our rights, of our amendments. Because apparently Moscow LE loves to incarcerate people for no reason. Okay, we have the right to get together as a group of people if it is a religious meeting or a religious ceremony. But what did Moscow LE do? We don't need to follow those amendments. F those rights. We don't need them. And what were they doing? They were arresting people. They incarcerated, they imprisoned people for this gathering, religious ceremony. They told a minor, his brother and their father, 3 of them are the ones that are suing. You're standing too close to your cousin. You're going to jail. You're not 6 feet apart. It doesn't matter because our rights are that we have the right to gather for religious purposes. But Moscow LE said, yeah, we do our own thing here. Apparently you do. And now there's a federal case. Thank effing goodness that somebody has some common sense at that town to sue this department. So of course I get very emotional when I hear about this, guys, again, veteran, family of veterans, family of military members, several agents in my family, fathers, grandfathers, people who've fought and died in these wars to protect our rights. And I see them getting trampled like it's a piece of toilet paper by Moscow LE. Of course I'm going to be angry. Of course I'm going to call you out. Of course I'm going to hold you accountable. Not to mention the article that I found stating that it was 40 plus officers that have been fired in the last year or so, couple years. That's a lot. Keep that in mind. Personally, I'm not going to Moscow anytime soon. No effing way. So, that's enough. Please take care.